Atlanta, season 17, season premiere episode. I am definitely an Angela fan, and I will say, Angela, I hope you're making good money. You're a fan favorite. You're definitely a fan favorite. I want to say to Angela, like, girl, if you like it, we love it, okay? But I just feel like you're at a crossroad with Charles. People might say, oh, well, that's how he is. You know, she gets it. I feel like Charles, whether he means to, whether it's intentional or not, he doesn't treat her very good. And I feel like she probably feels embarrassed about it. I can't imagine her looking back at it and not feeling embarrassed. And it's kind of giving a little bit of Braun and Todd without the kissing and farting. I didn't like it for Teresa either. Teresa and Juicy Joe, the way he would talk to her, you know, maybe people would say, well, that's just how they are. Maybe that was how they were raised, whatever. Look, listen, that's her marriage. So if she's okay with it, who are we to complain? That's why I'm like, if you like it, we love it, because I could never. I also feel like when she's trying to be cute with him, like he's not receptive of it, and he's trying to like make her look like a punk, kind of. That's just his energy. But like, I feel like it embarrasses Angela. There was a few scenes that they had where I kind of felt embarrassed for Angela. But Angela, she's like, I am not defending nothing this season. I don't care what the rumors about Charles is. I don't care who he's with. If he's with the candy lady, if he's got pink rollers in his hair, I don't care. I don't care. Good for you, Angela. Good for you. The season premiere was Portia having a dinner event at her house, Simon Gabadia's house, because legit, she got the house. I'm gonna say, at first I was like, oh, it's kind of messed up, but I'm thinking, maybe it's because Easter weekend just passed me by, but I'm thinking, this is what you get, Simon, because you were married to another woman. You knew she was a Jezebel. And if I gotta tell you who Jezebel is, you guys need to crack open the good book, because I'm not going through all of that. But I'm like, well, you marry a Jezebel, and this is your karma. And if you don't believe in karma, then this is God exacting his revenge on you, okay? Because that's what you get. So I don't feel bad. And you've been married a few times. So it wasn't like this was your first rodeo. You've been on this horse a couple of times, okay? I don't feel bad for him. And I will say this for Portia, though. I feel like when you mess around like that, the way that Portia messes around, karma always comes, okay? Karma always comes. She might feel like she's riding high now, but karma always comes. You messing around with that man, Mike, you better be careful he doesn't try to take Simon Gabadia's house from you. Oh my God, let me talk about Mike. So at Portia's dinner event, it was you and your significant other, right? Or you and your situationship. Oh, who are these men? Who are these men that these ladies were coming in with? This was giving My Best Friend's Wedding. That's not the movie I'm thinking about, because My Best Friend's Wedding was a Cameron Diaz and Julia Roberts. I'm thinking of the one with Deborah Messing. What the hell's her last name? She, the woman from Will and Grace. That one. The wedding date. Okay, this is giving like the wedding date, because I was like, who the hell's all these men? Anyway, Mike, that was weird, because who believed that those two were in a genuine relationship? Not me. Even the way he answered it when they were like, how did you meet? He's like, through God. What? Anyway, they were like, when was the last time you had sex? They were like 9 months ago. I was just like, I don't know. She needed somebody for a date. And, you know, all those women on Atlanta, they were all talking shit about Kenya Moore and her Nigerian prince. Now look at you. Now look at you. And now even Phaedra, because this is such egg in her face. Look at what happened with you and Apollo. And this is somebody who's never even seen the franchise previous to season 16. Now look at the mess with you and Apollo, please. Anyway, I don't like Phaedra. I do not enjoy watching her. You could tell when she's lying too. She's a lawyer. She should be a better lawyer. And ain't nobody got a damn husband or a man except for Angela Oakley. So for that, I will give kudos to Charles. And he was like, why is everybody talking about me? Where's all your husband at? So I'm going to give it to Charles. But let's start from the beginning. Okay, Portia, her divorce is finalized, so you could start filming at her house again, which is why, you know, she's having all the ladies over for her event. It's a beautiful house. Kelly, her daughter's going off to college, and she set up her dorm room really beautiful. We see a little bit of that. Then she goes over to Shamia's, and I guess Shamia and Kelly are BFFs now, whatever. Shamia is like creating a basket, a gift basket to give to Kelly's daughter. I can't remember what her daughter's name is. And some of those things were like, she got champagne in there, she's got condoms in there, and like pregnancy tests. You know, obviously Kelly's not going to be giving that shit to her daughter. I don't know if Shamia was just doing that just to be funny. I think Shamia thinks that she's a lot funnier than she is. I personally find that she has her moments where I laugh. I legit laugh. So I do think she's funny, but I also think that Shamia thinks she's funny like that. Like she's a comedian. And calm down, you're not Eddie Murphy, okay? You're funny, but like let's not, whatever. I mean, to me, it was obvious that Kelly, whether Shamia intended it for it to actually be given to Kelly's daughter, I could already tell Kelly wasn't going to give none of that shit to her daughter. And then we get introduced to K. Michelle. And K. Michelle, she actually lives in Nashville. You know, she's trying to do her whole country music thing. She says in her confessional that when she started out, people were like, you need to do R&B. And she said, but that wasn't my music. And she kept on asking, isn't now the time that I could do my country music? And, you know, they kept saying no, but like now she's able to finally do the music that she wants to. She actually lives in Nashville. She lived also in Atlanta, so she's familiar a little bit with that area and with the peoples and whatever. And she knows Portia. I don't know how well they actually know each other, but you know, there's a little bit of acquaintance of knowing each other there. Here was the wild thing. Now, I don't know about K. Michelle like that. Maybe others do. I don't know about her like that. But she was like, we just got married 2 weeks ago. I was like, okay. And she's saying that they went to the courthouse and they got married. Listen, there's nothing wrong with a courthouse marriage. But I'm just kind of like, she said that this is a man that, you know, she's been with on and off. He's a dentist, whatever. So he has an actual occupation. Listen, that is the best man to be with. Somebody who has a legit professional, okay? Because whatever happens with Bravo or whatever, even with her music career, you want to be with a man who has an actual profession. The entertainment industry is not a secure industry. So he's a dentist, at least is a legit professional. People always need to get their teeth fixed. So I thought that was like a little, okay, like why did you get married so fast? Because I would imagine that if you already had your contract signed, and trust and believe her contract was already signed for Bravo, why did you have kind of like a shotgun wedding? I know it's not a shotgun wedding. I'm just calling it that. Why the rush, right? A love child, I'm just like, why the rush? Why so fast that you don't even want to plan a wedding? Because you could have just been like, we're engaged, whatever, you know, we're going to plan a wedding. I mean, girl, that could have been your season storyline, having a wedding. Like, even if you were to have like a quick engagement, quick wedding, you could have done that within 3 months. She had a courthouse wedding, so I kind of side-eye it a little bit. The timing is a little suspicious. Okay, so of course, Portia, she invites everybody to her house for her dinner party. She's saying like, you know, me and Shamia, we don't really have a relationship. We haven't really talked since, you know, the reunion, but I'm going to invite her because why am I going to invite everyone but not her? Listen, Portia, she's been on the show long enough to know how this works. She knows how to play the game. She knows that her event is going to be a full cast event because the season premiere episode, there's always a full cast event. So she knows that she's going to be the hostess for a full cast event. She needs to invite everyone, including Shamia. So she invites everyone. And Shamia, in her confessional, this is the part that I actually laughed out loud because she was asked, have you had any contact with Portia since the reunion? And she said there was a couple of text message exchange, and she was asked like, oh, well, what did you guys talk about? She legit was, I thought she was like throwing up gang signs because she's like doing like this, she's like this, she's like, I was just like, girl, what are you doing? But it was funny. I thought that was so funny. I was laughing when she did that because it was so hilarious. She's like, I'm not going to tell you what was written, but I'll play it out for you. And she was like, there was a couple of like, like, and so she's funny. She has her moments. I think she's corny. A lot of the times I think she's corny, but that was funny for me. I actually laughed at that. And apparently, I don't know, she got work done because everybody was saying how she got like work done. At least Phaedra was saying that. But you know what? Phaedra should not talk because I swear to God, she looks like an LOL doll to me. That's who Phaedra and Kelly looks like, the LOL dolls. So Shamia asks her husband if he's coming. I could just tell from the look on his face, he's like, yeah, I'll see, I'll think about it. I was like, that man is not coming. He is not going to this event. But you know what? Even in last season, it didn't look like he was interested in filming. He was not into this mess, and good for him. I like a husband that is supportive of the wife being on the show, but he himself isn't looking for camera time. He doesn't want camera time. He's not looking to be a Bravo levity. He's like, I got a job, you know, like an actual job. And so I like that. Well, anyway, she showed up like 8 hours late, according to Charles Oakley. I was just like, damn, that's a full work day, 8 hours? At least they ate. I think they ate. But we also see Shamia bringing her friend Pinky, but I'm not sure if I will enjoy seeing Pinky on my television screen. I feel like she comes off a little bit crass, very like in your face. Angela's more of my vibe. Well, anyway, we eventually have Portia's dinner event, okay? It's catered. That is a beautiful home, Simon Gabadia. That's a beautiful home you had. Bailey has her man on the phone. Now, her man's in Amsterdam, so whatever. He's probably like, hell no, I'm not going to the U.S. Not with all the shit that's going on right now. A black man going to the United States? No, I'm going to stay my happy ass in this Dutch country. So that I understand, but Drew's man was on the phone too. This guy, Black, her friend. I mean, like, Angela said was like, girl, just say it already. Like, nobody believes it. But she keeps calling him a friend, so whatever. But Ralph apparently is still in her basement. That little troll man is still in her basement. Like, that man is still in her basement. That is just so weird. Their divorce finally got finalized, but oh my God, I can't imagine. Like, that was just so weird. Like, if you want to be on the phone for 3 hours, just show up and film. Maybe he couldn't. She said he was traveling, so maybe that's why he couldn't film. But I'm just like, if you're going to spend like 8 hours on the damn phone, you might as well have just been in person. And then Kelly brought in this guy, Trey, that everybody was like, oh yeah, Trey's a hoe. Everybody's known him. He's been with everybody. Phaedra brings in her man Candy, Chi-Chi, I think that's his name. I was like, oh, that is not a relationship. Now I know because Chi-Chi was around from season 16 also. And I know she said, oh, it's not anything serious. You know, I'm just having fun. But I don't even believe that it's a casual relationship. Chi-Chi is trying to get his face on a camera. That's all he's trying to do. But what was really funny with the editing is that they had the ghost of Simon Gabadia running around that mansion. And I was just like, oh my God. It was funny though. It was funny. I kind of feel bad, but you know what? Simon is loving it because I'm sure Simon's going to be hopping on Instagram and he's going to be like, oh, they can't stop talking about me. They can't stop talking about me. I'm their storyline. They should be paying me. Well, then eventually Shamia and Pinky arrives and Pinky and the Brain. That's what I was thinking of because I used to watch a show called The Animaniacs and there were two little lab mouses and it was Pinky and the Brain. The Brain obviously was the smart one and Pinky was like the dumb one. But anyway, when I was hearing the name Pinky, that was like what I instantly thought of. The Animaniacs. Kelly and Pinky, they seem to know each other and apparently, you know, there's not a lot of love between them because I guess there was some DM messages back and forth and Pinky says she left Kelly on red. I was like, okay. So I don't know. Are you team Nana's Chicken Waffles or are you team Slutty Vegans? Because what's going on? I don't know. But also, it seemed like there was a little bit of an issue between Drew and K. Michelle, and I didn't understand that either because I felt like there was a little bit of awkward tension between them. And then at the confessionals, there was definitely some shade going on. But in the confessionals, though, you see that much later on. The episodes are already filmed and then you get asked about it by a producer. So by then, I'm sure they already had their problems and whatever. But I felt like there was a little bit of an off energy when they were just first meeting each other. So that was a little weird. I don't know what's going on with that. But then Shamia and Drew get into it a little bit. And Drew's like, you know, where's your husband? And Shamia's like, well, where's your man? It was just so weird. I mean, like, I don't get why Drew was asking where Shamia's legit husband is, and because I don't doubt at all, and I don't think anyone on that cast doubts that Shamia's marriage is authentic and legit. So I'm not sure why she was asking that, but maybe it was just taken out of context. I don't know. But Cynthia was like, we all knew Gerald wasn't coming. Gerald, I don't know, Jerry. We all knew he wasn't coming. You know, he never shows up for any of this. Like, girl, why are you even asking? And I'm just thinking, like, Drew, your man's on a telephone. Like, Portia was like, oh, I thought you guys were cool, you know, whatever. Well, anyway, the men, they all go sit out in the patio to, like, smoke cigars or some shit. So the ladies, they all go sit in a separate room. And this is where I feel like Kelly and Shamia was being messy. They were trying to start a wedge between Angela and Drew because Shamia was like, well, your bestie was like, she didn't believe your evidence either. And how they explain it was that, you know, Drew at the reunion had went up to Phaedra and was like, you know, I questioned some of the evidence that Angela is showing. But how Drew explained it was like, you know, I already told Angela all of this. I was already like, you know, girl, some of these evidence is not making any sense. But you know what? Angela and Drew, they're still friends. They still remain friends, even after filming has wrapped. I don't believe that Angela set anything up. I think Junebug set himself up because he was trying to make a name for himself. That's what I personally feel. Drew was probably like, you know, I told Angela, like, listen, you know, I don't think that we should trust Junebug or whatever. I don't think it was said how Phaedra and Shamia is trying to insinuate it as is like, oh yeah, you know, I don't believe her or whatever. I'm going to side more with how Drew is explaining it because Angela, she's fine. She says she don't care about it. And that was the thing when Angela was like, I don't care about it. Shamia was trying to egg it on because she's like, you don't care? You don't care that your bestie's saying that she doesn't trust your evidence? And I was like, Shamia, this is why you're not a fan favorite. I know you think you're funny and you got your moments, but this is why you are not a fan favorite because the audience could see you trying to instigate. So you think you're trying to do something that you're exposing something and it's falling flat. And when she's telling you she don't care, you're trying to push it on further. But anyway, and this is why I don't like Phaedra. You can always tell when Phaedra is lying because she does the it's bop, right? Before the Jonas Brothers, there were the Hanson brothers, and the Hanson brothers had this one-hit wonder called Bop. And I swear when Phaedra lies, that song Bop comes into my head. That song came on when I was a kid, and I swear to God, that reminds me of Phaedra whenever she lies. I believe Angela. I don't think Angela's a liar. I think sometimes when it comes to Charles, she tries to protect him. And by trying to protect him, she tries to save herself from embarrassment. But I don't feel like she's an outright liar like Phaedra is, okay? Phaedra with her weird timeline of her like 14th month pregnancy or some shit. With the whole Phaedra and Angela thing, she said that she saw Phaedra and her friend at a Hawks game, and the friend went up to Angela, was like, oh, I'm Phaedra's friend. I'm the one with the hands. I believe that. I 1000% believe it, and I believe it how Angela said it. And then Phaedra was like, oh, well, I don't believe it, or it didn't happen, or whatever. She claims that she pulled the video footage from the Hawks game. Kelly is smart. Kelly is like, damn, girl, you were able to view the security footage and hear the audio? She is so smart with it. Let me tell you, win a case, Phaedra, because Kelly, she's smart. I was like, that is a good point. That is a good point. Security cameras, they often do not have audio, especially not someplace like a sports arena. The only time that you can get audio from a security camera is when it's in a secluded room, like an interrogation room, because the room is small and it's closed. So you're able to capture audio. In a sports stadium, there's no way that you could isolate audio. You just can't. So she's smart. I was like, okay, Kelly, you're smart. Nana's chicken waffles. Don't let that knock you, okay? She's smart. I would trust Kelly in a courtroom more than Phaedra, because when she was asked about that, that's when she's like, and that is the sign that Phaedra's lying. And she was like, oh, well, I asked for the footage to be reviewed. Well, that wasn't what you said. You said you saw the footage. You saw and you heard the footage. Okay, girl, whatever. Win a case. K. Michelle, she's getting a little bit overwhelmed. She goes up and she steps out to be with the guys because she's probably like, what the hell is going on? This does not look good for my brand. And it probably doesn't. And then Kelly, she was trying to do something because she tells Portia, she's like, oh, what was the text exchange between you and Shamia? And Portia, she nips it in the bud. She's like, okay, well, me and Shamia will talk about it and not with everybody else. So that is how the first episode ends. What do you guys think of K. Michelle and Pinky? We didn't see much or hear much of Pinky. I felt like she was hardly there. And yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the episode. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.